as I just read it in, and we'll make sure that we circulate it. So this is your notice of motion, so we can deal with this on Thursday. So that the minister and officials be invited to appear for 2 hours on the main estimates referred to the committee on May 27th, 2025, and supplementary estimates A referred to the committee on June 9th, 2025, and that this meeting be televised. That motion is on notice. Okay?
Understood.
Go.
Est-ce qu'elle nous sera envoyée, madame?
We will receive that.
Yes, Ms. Glant.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to put a motion on notice, and that given the committee members, staff, the clerk, analysts, and witnesses worked hard to produce the report entitled Gaps to Fill Housing and Other Needed Supports for the Canadian Armed Forces Members and Their Families during the first session of the 44th Parliament, and given that the government did not table a response because of the prorogation of Parliament, the committee deem that it has undertaken and completed a study on gaps to fill housing and other needed supports for Canadian Armed Forces members and their families pursuant to the Standing Order 108, and that it adopt that report as a report from this committee. Pursuant to the Standing Order 109, the committee requests the government to table a comprehensive response to the report. Supplementary or dissenting reports that accompanied the report in the previous session of Parliament be tabled with the main report, and the chair present the report to the House.
Mr. Bazan.
Mr. Chair, I want to give notice of motion based upon the transparency study that we had worked on in the previous Parliament and had tabled that report in the House, and a government response wasn't given. So I table that given that committee members, staff, the clerk, analysts, and witnesses worked hard to produce the report entitled Rebuilding Trust, Transparency, and Accountability in the Department of National Defence and the Canadian Armed Forces during the first session of the 44th Parliament, and given that the government did not table a response because of the prorogation of Parliament, the committee deemed that it has undertaken and completed a study on rebuilding trust, transparency, and accountability in the Department of National Defence and the Canadian Armed Forces pursuant to Standing Order 108, and that it adopted that report as a report from this committee. Pursuant to Standing Order 109, the committee requests the government to table a comprehensive response to the report. Supplementary or dissenting reports that accompany the report in the previous session of Parliament will be tabled with the main report, and the chair present the report to the House.
Ms. Glant.
Mr. Chairman, I think you're going to like this notice of motion because Standing Order 108-2, the committee conduct ongoing briefings from the Department of National Defence and the Canadian Armed Forces, Global Affairs, and other expert witnesses to receive information regarding the threat analysis affecting Canada and our allies, and the Canadian Armed Forces' operational readiness to meet those threats, including support for international security operations and emergent threats, as well as domestic capacity to respond in support of civil emergencies, and that matters related to logistics, procurement, and personnel be included in these briefings.
Any further? Yes, sir. Mr. Anderson.
I'd like to make a notice of motion that the committee invite the Minister of National Defence and the Secretary of State, Defence Procurement, to appear before the committee for no less than 1 hour each within 14 days of the adoption of this motion in relation to their mandates in NATO defence spending.
And so a number of motions have been put forward.
Got more here.
Okay. So you're using your motions as your 48-hour rule, right?
Yep. These are all notice of motion. Mr. Chair, that the committee invite the Auditor General to appear for no less than 2 hours to discuss the second report of the Auditor General delivering Canada's future fighter jet capability. One more.
Mr. Gibault.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and congratulations on your new position, and thanks for the kind welcome. I would like to put on motion notice such that the committee invite the ombudsperson for the Department of National Defence and Canadian Armed Forces to appear in September for no less than 2 hours. This motion is on notice. Thank you.
Any further motions before I adjourn?
Notices of motion.
Any further notices of a motion, correct?
Just one clarification, we will have Thursday committee.
That is not for certain. We have yet to find agreement with the whips to ensure, so we may not have a Thursday meeting, but we appreciate the notice of motions, and we'll determine when the next meeting will be held. Meeting adjourned.
Mr.
Wait.
Speaker.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chair, I'd just say that, the House is sitting on Thursday. We are sitting right till Friday. So I would hope that as chair, you want to make sure that we are working and being productive, knowing that this committee has not met since December. So it would be a great opportunity for all of us to get to know each other a little bit better by having a meeting and further discussing committee business so that when we come back in the fall, that we have an agenda and a plan of moving forward to address the challenges that we're facing and the threat environment that we're currently experiencing.
And I would say that the members around this committee, the chair included, is very concerned about the threats and assessments as we go forward. There's a lot of work to be done on all of our behalfs to ensure that we solve and encourage government to proceed in its mandate as we put forward. I am also sensitive about the resources and availability to have some of those individuals and some of those reports and motions that you put forward. We'll do our utmost, I think, collectively to try to achieve that. But this committee needs to work for the benefit of Canadians, for the purposes of the Canadian Armed Forces, and that, to me, is my priority. Meeting adjourned.